In this video, I will talk about the pyramid. So the most important things that you need to do in order to boost testosterone. Okay? So basically this is the most important and this the less. Okay? I will go through one by one so you have a clear idea of what you need to do. So first is sleep. Okay? Why I put this as the first one? Because sleep is basically the most important thing. If you don't sleep, your testosterone will go down. There is no exception. 7 to 10 hours. Okay? REM and the deep. So you have to maximize both these two stages, and you also need to focus on not waking up during the night. Okay? So sleep number one. Okay? In order to improve your sleep, you can do basically 3 things, except for the supplements. Okay? One is to lower your cortisol. Okay? In order to do this, you have to do the second thing, which is expose yourself to the sun in the morning. Okay? When you wake up, you need to expose yourself to the sun, because then what happens is that sun exposure will trigger a biological response, which will set not only your circadian cortisol rhythm, but also will make you sleep at night. Okay? Because it will trigger the release of melatonin at night. Okay? And the last thing is to actually do stuff. Okay? Don't sit in the house all day, be active, because this way you will also be tired during the day, and at night you will sleep. Second, nutrition. 3 main things: carbs, protein, fats. Okay? Your carbs should come from sources that contain less anti-nutrients as possible. Okay? Honey, milk, fruit if you want. I really like honey because it increases LH, which then signals to the gonads to produce testosterone. Your protein should mainly come from animals, because animals contain the most available amino acids for our body. Meanwhile, plants do not. So the amino acids in the animals are much more bioavailable than the ones in the plants. Last, fats coming from saturated and monounsaturated fatty acids. Okay? Ideal fats are coming from eggs, for example, which contains saturated and monounsaturated fatty acids, but also from animals. So you can consume red meat, meat in general, butter, ghee, extra virgin olive oil that contains monounsaturated fatty acids, together with, for example, olives and also avocado. So I list basically the main foods. Okay? What you should do also is to not eat constantly, because if you eat constantly, like 5-6 meals a day, what happens is that you trigger your insulin. Okay? And if you trigger your insulin too much over time, you will become insulin resistant. And if you become insulin resistant, you will actually lower your testosterone. So having a very good metabolic health will actually benefit you in maximizing your testosterone. Next thing is workout. Okay? Lift and do HIIT and walk. Okay? Lift, compound movements, because compound movements can actually increase testosterone. You move larger muscles. Okay? These will increase testosterone, particularly if you do squats. HIIT, you can be sprinting. Okay? If you sprint and you do high intensity interval training, you will actually increase your testosterone, contrary to long activity like marathons, because they will increase cortisol too much and you will lower your testosterone. Walk, because walking actually is a very low intensity workout and it keeps your cortisol steady and does not cause a rise in cortisol. Okay, so walk is very good for burning calories, for improving your insulin sensitivity. Generally speaking, is a very good activity. Okay. Last, supplements. You have to take supplements that do basically two things that increase testosterone and make you sleep better. Okay, they can increase testosterone either by directly increasing testosterone or by lowering cortisol, because if you lower cortisol, you increase testosterone. And second, by helping you sleeping, you will sleep better, having a better REM and deep sleep, and you will produce more testosterone. Okay? So, for higher testosterone, I would say boron, zinc if you are deficient, D3, Tongat, Ali. These can be basically the main ones, because this will increase your testosterone, and I would say these are the basic, but there are a ton more. Okay, so I list the basic ones that you can start taking now for increasing testosterone. Now, if we are talking about lowering cortisol and sleeping, so cortisol down, I would say ashwagandha, and also another compound called phosphatidylserine. Okay, these two compounds will absolutely lower your cortisol. Okay, now the problem here is that check yourself when you take ashwagandha, for example, because if you take ashwagandha for too long, you can actually risk of increasing too much your serotonin, and then you will feel the effects of too much serotonin. Okay, so because ashwagandha can act as an antidepressant, you have to play with the dosage. Okay, but if you see that you take ashwagandha and you do good, you just have like positive effects and you don't feel the negative effects, I would say ashwagandha is a very good plant. Okay, then in order to sleep better, you can actually take two more supplements, one of which is magnesium bisglycinate and also L-theanine. Okay, by taking one of the two, or even two if you want, you will not only increase testosterone, but you will sleep better. So, as a recap, sleep number one, 7 to 10 hours. REM and REM sleep are very, very important. Okay, do these two things: lower your cortisol by watching at the sun, release of melatonin at night, and do stuff in the day beyond. Second, nutrition: carbs, protein, and fats. Carbs that contain less antinutrients, protein that comes mainly from animals, fats that come from monounsaturated fatty acids and saturated fatty acids. Okay, focus also on having a low insulin, because by being insulin sensitive, you will actually have an optimal metabolic health, which in turn will be beneficial for your testosterone production. Workout: lifting weights, mainly compound lift, because it can actually trigger the release of testosterone, and also hit high intensity interval training like sprinting plus walk. Okay, and last, supplements, mainly boron, zinc, D3, and tonga-talib, because these two basically increase free testosterone. Zinc is crucial for the production of testosterone, and also D3 is very, very important. Okay, these will increase testosterone. You lower cortisol by taking ashwagandha and phosphatidylserine. And finally, if you want to sleep better, you can take magnesium bisglycinate and L-theanine. By doing these stuff, which are, by the way, just the main stuff, okay, then you can do other stuff as well. Okay, I will go more in the specifics. So by following this protocol, you will see that your testosterone will increase.